I am typically not the type of person to tell you that I told you so, but in this particular instance, I told you so. The X-H2s now has been out for about a month, and the results that I've seen have confirmed what I initially suspected when I looked at the launch video prior to the release of the camera. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out one of these two videos, or maybe just this one video when I talk about the autofocus quote unquote lies. That got tons of hate out there on this channel, and people were telling me like, hey, you know, wait till you get your hands on it. You're going to see it's going to be so much better. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be better than Sony. It's going to be better than Canon. It's going to be the bee's knees. Well, I got news for you. It's not in video mode. So I think that is where a lot of people just kind of didn't really pay attention to what I was saying in that video, but there are two key components to that video that we could talk about today, especially now that the camera's been out for a little bit. The two things that I was most excited about with the release of this particular camera is the autofocus performance in video mode and the auto exposure stepping issue that they continue to have. So both of those things are still an issue with Fujifilm. Full disclosure, I have not tried out the camera myself. I do not intend to try out the camera. I have tons of Fujifilm gear, so I know what I'm talking about here. And I knew as soon as I saw the footage from some of the pre-production, everyone was using that as an excuse, like it's a pre-production model, give it some room to breathe, wait till we get the actual camera in here, and then that way we can assess the situation and see what it's all about and see if, in fact, it is performing at or near its competition. Well, I've seen enough looking at other videos to know that while it is certainly improved, it is absolutely the best Fujifilm to date in terms of autofocus, both in stills and in video mode. Unfortunately, it's still not up to the performance of both Canon and Sony. Sony especially. Sony is just ridiculous. So I don't even think I've made a video since the last video I had when I was talking about the Fujifilm X-H2s, but I did actually go out after that video. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to go pick up an A7 IV and see if it's as good as it's cracked up to be. Well, let me tell you, it is, and then some. So anyone who has shot video on Fuji in the past 5 years, do yourself a favor. Maybe don't go out and buy a Sony A7 IV, but at a minimum, borrow one or rent one for a weekend and give it a shot, because I'm telling you, the performance, the autofocus performance in particular on this particular Sony camera is unbelievable. It is so different than the Fuji experience. And everyone keeps talking about it's the lenses, it's the combination, it's this, it's that. The reality is the A7 IV, even with the 2870 kit lens that it comes with, is incredible. It is so sticky. The eye just, the autofocus just tracks the eye, no problem. Like I can move anywhere here in the frame and it's going to track me. I could duck out of here and then come back up and it'll pick me back up again. Like easy peasy, no problem whatsoever. And I can trust that it's going to do that. Unfortunately, you cannot say the same for Fujifilm. So the autofocus, again, it is much improved, but it is still far from what the competition offers at that price point. Now, if this camera came in and it was, I don't know, $1,800, maybe $2,000, I think I would look very differently at it, but it's a $2,500 camera. And here's the other thing is right now they're offering this CF Express card as an incentive if you purchase it between, since the beginning versus I think it's through the beginning of September. If you purchase it during that time frame, at least here in the US, you get an additional $400 CF Express card. If something was selling so well, why in the world would you need to put an incentive on it? That is like business 101. You wouldn't. You would simply just leave it alone. If it's going to be sold out, it's going to be sold out. The X100V, how long has that camera been out? I don't even know. Years now. And it is still sold out across the board. It's very, very difficult to get your hands on one. So if you build a quality camera, people will buy it. If you build something like this that doesn't live up to the expectations. Were the expectations high? Absolutely. But for a crop sensor camera at $2,500, I think deservedly so, right? I mean, it should be perfect at that price point. And from everything I've seen thus far, it's not. It's far from it. So that's the AF piece. The auto exposure, nothing has changed on that front. I've seen a couple of videos. It was interesting. One person said, I'm not having any problems with auto exposure. And then he like zooms in his lens and it happened to be on like an 18 to 55, which has a variable aperture. And as soon as he zoomed in, it stopped down the aperture and you saw the exposure go boom, boom. Like it was dramatic. It was like, oh. And I feel like sometimes I'm living in this vacuum where I'm the only person that can see these things. I know I'm not, because there are other reviewers out there that are saying the same types of things. But I feel like sometimes people just are so like googly eyed over this new camera that they just can't see the bigger picture. That is my rant for today. If you do enjoy content like this, I just kindly ask that you smash the like button and also click the subscribe button down below to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching. Take care.